Hello, I guess Falcha Hudadunya. Hello and welcome everyone, or welcome back to Tryhan Streams. My name is Tryhan and I stream. It's what we do here. And right now we are going to be having a first look at Action Game Maker. Now I do have my webcam up at the moment, but the window for Action Game Maker is full screen, so you won't be able to see me, I don't think. But that's fine, you don't need to. Right, where are we? Cool, so Action Game Maker is a new entry in the Maker series from Gotcha Gotcha Games. They have made the demo available for Steamfest, so I am going to be working through the tutorial for it. It is, as I understand, built on Godot. So that's interesting. Let me just make that smaller so I can still see the chat. Cool. Right. So I have created a new project from the tutorial data, which has done a bunch of stuff. So you might see a lot of windows open. For now, just remember these four key areas. So we've got the scene window at the top left, much as you would with any Godot project. Everything is made up of nodes, which is fine. We've got the file system, which has all of the assets that are available. We've got the editor viewport, inspector window. So yeah, it's basically Godot. Main thing that you'll note possibly is that there's no 3D up here. It is 2D only by the looks of it. I wonder if we can add a 3D node. No, it only has node 2D. Cool. So yeah, it's got a number of the Godot thingies. Oh, that's going to be a thing. Right, give me a sec because I don't think OBS will show the dialogues. It will only show the main window, so I will need to share the full screen itself rather than just AGM. So if we do display capture, and then do primary monitor, and then transition. There we go, right, so you should be able to see the full thing now. So where was I? Yeah. So if you go to add a new node, you'll see there that it's got a number of the, well, proprietary nodes. Some of the base ones you'd expect from Godot, like Audio Stream Player and such. Interestingly, we've got multiplayer spawner and multiplayer synchronizer, so it looks like Action Game Maker may be capable of doing multiplayer. Also interesting that we've got Navigation Agent 3D, even though it's not a 3D thing, but okay, that's fair enough. Excuse me. So we are in step 3. Let's build a game using sample objects. Now let's use the included assets to start making a game right away. Take a look at the center screen, you'll see that a character and some ground tiles have already been placed. This character is already controllable, so let's jump into a test play. Flat Forest, what even is this? So I don't know if you caught the beginning of this. Basically, if you're at all familiar with RPG Maker or other such game making software, the developer Gotcha Gotcha Games is releasing a new one called Action Game Maker, which is for making action games such as Hollow Knight, kind of in that kind of Metroidvania sort of vein, or platformers. So they've made a demo of it available through Steamfest, and I'm just having a first look at the demo of it. So if you go test play, so we've got some music and we've got a wee character that we can whee. apparently he'll just fall forever because there's no bottom coded into the environment. And at the moment, just a single jump. So interestingly, if you hold up or down, he goes through his walk cycle without actually walking. Whee! Oh, and we've got a little coin counter up the top right as well. That's kind of cool. Okay. After you've tried moving the character around, go ahead and close the text button. Right, so let's place some tiles. The stage looks a bit small as it is, doesn't it? Let's expand. So the diamond-shaped icon represents a tile layer, so that'll be like this one. The default ground layer is named base, so select that. Once selected, a grid will appear in the center view and a new window called tile placement should show up at the bottom center, which it does. If the grid doesn't appear, click the grid icon in the top right corner of the tile placement window. It works like a palette to choose which tile to place. You can select individual tiles manually, but yet let's use the terrain auto tile feature instead. Switch the tab from tiles to terrain. We can't because there isn't one. I would try this too, but there's probably no way to import resources in the demo. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, you should just be able to drop resources into the folder of the project you've created and we'll be able to just use them. That's how it works in Godot at least. Yeah, I'm interested by the fact that it's telling me to select terrain, but I can't actually because there isn't a terrain tab. So we're off to a really good start there. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've actually set up terrains, which is great. Also, why does it look like the Godot interface? I tried to make a Cassette Beasts mod once, which is why I know what Godot looks like. Action Game Maker has been built on Godot. It's kind of similar to RPG Maker Unite, which was built on Unity. This one has been built on Godot, which I'm already happier with because I like Godot a lot better as an editor. I mean, I used to use Unity, but with the whole debacle about the per install fee thing, I've jumped ship to Godot well and truly now. I don't use Unity at all. I see, that makes sense. It does. Yeah, okay. I now have terrains. Why did I not have terrains before? Oh well, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the nose. So you see 3 auto tiles available. Terrain set 0 top, earth-like tiles already placed. Yep, fair. Terrain set 1, middle, rock-like tiles. Terrain set 2, ruin-themed tiles. Choose whichever set you like. We'll go with ruins, why not? Once selected, try dragging on the editor viewport to paint tiles. The tiles should automatically blend and align with the existing ones. And yes, indeed they do. Just gonna expand this a little bit. I would use Godot or Dragon Ruby if I actually had any confidence in my ability to code a game almost entirely from scratch, by the way. The cool thing about editors like that is that it's not as difficult as it used to be. I mean, GDScript is pretty straightforward. Especially, I don't know if you're familiar with Python at all, but it's very Python adjacent. If you have trouble placing tiles, check the following. So connect mode, and then we've got path mode. So what's the difference? Paints a terrain, then connects it with the surrounding tiles with the same terrain. Paints a terrain, then connects it to the previous tile painted with the same stroke. So what would be... Ah, okay, I see what the... Yep, cool. Also, have you played Cassette Beasts? I have not played Cassette Beasts. Doesn't seem like we have very many tiles to play with, but that's fine. I mean, it is a demo. You can also right-click to erase tiles. And then you've got your standard paint, line, rectangle, bucket, picker, etc. I'd have explained what my mod was and the only reason it's unfinished if you had. I mean, I'm still interested. I think I have heard of Cassette Beasts. Oh, here's a point. Somebody was asking for a link to my thingamahoojet, so... I've posted a post. Basically, it was a custom passive and I couldn't work out how to disable Fusion if you had it active. What language does it use? It'd have been absurdly overpowered if Fusion was usable with it. Fair enough. Note the eraser and picker tools are toggled on and off. Yep. Be careful, they stay active until manually deselected. You've drawn some terrain, but the original tiles had grass, didn't they? Let's decorate your newly placed tiles with grass. Grass is placed using a separate tile map layer. In the scene window, select base cover. Grass is also available as an auto tile, so choose your favourite style and decorate your map as much as you like. Okay, that's actually pretty sweet that they've kind of set up the different layers that you'll need for... Oh, we've even got some mushrooms. Cool. Let's place sample objects. This project includes several sample objects. Let's try placing them in the scene. Open the sample object folder in the file system. Sample object. Here we go. Inside you'll find TSCN files. These are the sample objects we'll be using. Let's start placing them. First, specify which layer the object should be placed in. Look at the scene window in the top left. In Action Game Maker, objects should be placed as children of the node called Object Root. Select the player node under Scene Layer, Base Layer, Object Root. Oh. Apparently OBS has disconnected. Am I still streaming? Are we back? Reconnection successful. There we go. I think I'm back now. Can you hear me okay? Yes, I can. Cool. Now let's place an object onto the scene. Let's start with a coin. Simply drag and drop object coin.tscn from the file system window onto the desired location in the center editor view. So we have made us a little coin. If you accidentally place it under the wrong layer outside of object root, you can move it in the scene window by dragging it back into the object root node. So apparently if you touch the coin, it'll disappear and the coin counter in the top right will increase by 1. And sure enough, yep, it does. Cool. Now you can place any other sample objects freely. There are a total of 13 types of sample objects available. So let's see what we've got. We've got a lamp for decoration. Okay, so it's got some lighting set up. We've got a statue. We've got a torch, which also has lighting effects on it. We've got a little enemy that apparently moves left to right and can be defeated by jumping on it, so let's give that a try. I quite like the effect for that. We've got a block. That's a breakable block that can be destroyed by hitting it from below. Okay, so let's... Now you've got the coin, we have a floor lamp. Floor lamp can apparently be broken by jumping on it. Well, I've immediately noticed a potential bug there. Okay, so you just like hover in the air for a second and then drop. Maybe that was by design. And then we've got a goal flag. Triggers a finishing effect when touched. If I did make a game in this, I'd want to make something similar to Hollow Knight at a basic level gameplay wise, but it'd probably have significant differences in terms of health, magic, equipment, etc. Yeah, I feel the same. I think if you were going to do something along those lines, you'd want to do something relatively unique rather than reinventing the wheel. Okay, so it is target single, select animation player control object, time effect. So there's a number of different settings that you can set for the different objects and such. Let's see, we've got a jump board which launches the player upwards when you step on it. Very reminiscent of the springs in Mario. Whee! Let's see if I can hit the thing. Ha-ha! That was some damn good platforming on my part. So we've got horizontal and vertical platforms. They shift horizontally or vertically at intervals. So if I do say yeah, presumably the extent of the movement will be customizable. I like the particle effects on the little crystals. That's kind of cool. And we have the player character themselves. Let's try customizing an object. Cool, okay. So click the open an editor button for the player object. new tab called Object Sample Player will appear in the editor view, which it does. You'll see many nodes arranged in a tree structure. Each node holds specific information. Select the Move and Jump Settings node. Okay, so you can change stuff like the horizontal movement speed and things like that. That's kind of cool. So if we now double his horizontal speed. Oh yeah, these are much faster now. Zooming all over the place. Next, let's explore the visual scripting system. In the upper left of the screen, click the script icon next to the player object. Okay, so it's got a visual scripting system rather than using GDScript. That's interesting. This is the program that controls the player's behavior. Each box labeled with things like idle or move represents an action the player can perform. These boxes are called states. The lines connecting them indicate the connections for switching between states. These are called links. Now click on the jump state. You'll see its settings displayed in the inspector window. By default, the settings are collapsed. We've got the animation system, action settings, additional actions, which are apparently similar to event commands in RPG Maker. Okay, so you can emit signals, move in a direction, generate an object, disable, display text, a number of different things you can do. In this case, a play sound action has been added. Yes, it has. Play audio. Cool. And it plays Mail 11? Mail 11C. Which is that. Oh, I don't know if you'll have heard that because I don't have desktop audio on. Oh, so you won't have heard the music either, so I'll just sample music. Let's add a new state. This time we'll create a sliding move. Right click on an empty space near the move state box and select add state. Select state 1, check out the inspector. First rename it. In the title, change it to sliding. Next, assign an animation to play during the action. Sliding. Now configure the action settings. To make the dash non-cancelable, check disable movement input during this state. I'm guessing that's ignore input. This prevents player input from interrupting the action while it's playing. Next, set the horizontal movement speed percentage to 200, so the character moves at double speed during the slide. Let's also force the player to move in their current facing direction. This option is a bit deeper in the settings. Expand other execution actions, and then open the array, click the add action button, new action selection window will appear. From the list, choose move in facing direction. I'm guessing it means move in display direction. And add it. There are a few, but default settings are fine. With that, your sliding state is complete. Now that you've created your sliding action, it currently isn't connected to any other state, meaning it can't be used yet. Let's create a link from the move state to sliding. link to sliding. Let's set a condition for the transition. So link, enable the on input property. Array, add input, new input condition. We'll set the input to button B, so it will slide when B is pressed. At this point the player can slide, but there's no way to exit the sliding state. Without a return path, the player would remain in the sliding state forever. Let's create a link from sliding to idle. Right click the sliding state and link to move. Oh no, we didn't want to do that. We want to add a link to idle. So that's just a shortcut to the thing. Cool. And I'm guessing add shortcut stay. Make shortcut. Yeah, cool. Visual script links always flow left to right, so shortcuts help avoid messy spaghetti conditions when linking back to earlier states. Now let's use a non-input condition for the transition. In the inspector from the new link from sliding to idle, expand the conditions, condition, choose elapsed time, and set it to 0.3 seconds. So why did So that has input conditions, but that one just has conditions. Oh, because I haven't put trigger on input, that's why. Cool. So that one still has conditions underneath. Awesome. Now test your setup using the thingy button F5. First I'm going to go back to my scene and get rid of some of the decoration so it's not in my way. So get rid of the goal, get rid of the jump boards, the statue can stay, the coin can stay, we'll get rid of the enemy, and that'll do. So now if I hit X, nothing will happen. Let's see where I've messed up here. Oh, I've not saved it, that's why. Let's just make sure that we've got this. So input condition, registered key, B being pressed, yep. Oh, it does move to sliding, right, okay. Whee! Yeah, so if you stand under a platform, it can push you into the ground. That's a bit of a bug there, I guess. You've successfully created a working action using visual scripting. Yay! Now you know the basics. Feel free to adjust speed or duration for a better feel, add sound effects or voice using the play sound action, connect idle to sliding to allow sliding from a standstill, try linking from jump or fall to create aerial slides. Remember to return to landing, not idle, or the character won't land properly. Okay. So they've got a few other tutorial courses, so let's have a look at those. Okay, so that one I've just done, that's the beginner one. There's a graphics course, but that I think is for using your own images. So that one might be handy for you, Flan, for us. So there should be a templates thing here. Okay, so it does have some other options, so let's go through this. Okay, download the following sample image. Okay. In the file system, select the folder where you want to store the image. You can also create a new folder by right-clicking in the file system. Drag and drop the downloaded image from your File Explorer into the selected folder in the file system. Now we get to find out where that went. Okay, it went into the backgrounds near view because that was what I had selected. Let's just stick it here. Cool. Select any layer, then drag and drop testpicture.png from the file system onto the stage. The image should now appear on the stage. When placing image files such as PNGs, a node called Sprite2D will be automatically created and the image will be assigned as its texture. So we want that to be kind of a child of that base layer object root, presumably. So let's change the background image. In the left scene panel you'll notice 3 layers: distant view, middle view and near view. These 3 layers make up the background. In this tutorial project the background is split into 3 layers to create a parallax scrolling effect. Just see that in test play. Yeah, so you can see there that the foreground moves at a different rate to the mountains. It moves at a different rate to the sky, etc, etc. Fairly standard parallax effect. Now select the Sprite2D under distant view. In the inspector window you'll see a property labelled texture. This is the currently assigned image. In the bottom left window, open the folder templates backgrounds. These are pre-made background images for each layer. Drag V004. Okay, so that's added a kind of snowy background. And as you may notice that the background appears as a wide image even though it's a very small vertical PNG. Why? That's because we're using a special Godot node called Parallax2D to create a parallax background effect. Each view node is essentially a renamed Parallax2D node. Let's take a look inside. Select the distant view node. In the inspector you'll see several properties. So scroll scale controls how much the layer moves in response to camera movement. Lower values move slower, making the layer appear farther away. Scroll offset. Repeat size specifies how large the image should repeat, usually set to the same size as the texture image. If you replace it with a custom image, be sure to update this. Okay, so if I set that from 720 to say 100, yeah, then it doesn't actually tile. Cool. Let's auto scroll. Velocity at which the offset scrolls automatically. So does the background move itself? Ah, yeah, so it moves at 3 pixels per second by itself. middle view. Place that with cave. And near view, castle. I'm not really sure how that's a castle, but okay. Plain, got forest. Not sure that combination really works. Let's try and see how it goes if we do forest for all of them. Yeah, that doesn't really work, does it? Presumably these are set up for specific thingies, like for that you'd have to move the platformy bits further down, I imagine. Let's put that back to the settings it had. Oh no, that's oops. There we go. Ah yeah, the backgrounds, forest and cave are designed for indoor parallax scenes. If you use them directly, the near view may appear misaligned. You just have to change the Y position. Okay, fair enough. Now let's create a new tile layer and try loading your own tile graphics. If you don't have any tile materials ready, feel free to use this sample tile. You know what? I will use that sample tile. Okay, create a new node for the tile layer. In the scene window, select base layer, then click the plus button. In the node creation dialog, choose tile map layer. So, would if I could see it. I just they're in alphabetical order, so okay, I see what. Yeah, so if you're in this kind of thing, you'll have to expand node 2D to get some of the. And be careful not to select tile map, which is an older legacy node. Fair. Select the newly created layer and assign a tile set. So drop down next to tile set, new tile set. Tile set expanded. So tile size, we want 24. Physics layers, add a new physics layer so tiles can have collision settings. Switch to the tile set panel at the bottom. Drag and drop your tile image from the file system into this panel. Yeah, so if we do stick you there. Right. So then we do that. The atlas's texture was modified. Would you like to automatically create tiles in the atlas? Yes. Do you want to load this as an auto tile? No. Tiles will now appear sliced into the correct size. Let's define the collision area. Switch to the Select tab and drag over all tiles to select them. Tile settings panel will open. Go to Physics, Physics Layer 0. Use the Add Point tool to click the four corners of each tile to define the collision polygon. Seems like the... oh, 2 seconds. Band. Right. Points editor doesn't exactly work brilliantly, does it? Right, let's remove these and try again. So, boop. Yeah, something's a bit off with the thing here. It keeps rethinking the zoom. There we go. Switch the panel to tile map view, begin placing tiles on your stage. Pick a tile and click to place it. Since collisions are defined, the player should be able to walk on them in test play. So if I put... So I put those two there, I should be able to jump on top of them. Yep, sure enough. In Godot, nodes lower in the scene tree are drawn in front. If you want to change draw order, drag the tile map layer up or down in the scene window. Action Game Maker uses Godot's terrain system for its auto tile functionality. This feature allows flexible creation of auto tiles, but in Action Game Maker, if you prepare your tile images in a specific format, they will be automatically loaded as auto tiles, no manual setup required. First, download the test auto tile image below and import it into your file system. Select the tile map layer where you want to load the tile. Let's use this one. Open the tileset panel. Drag test auto tile into it. Yes, select what is the auto tile? This will automatically configure collision detection, wall settings, terrain settings, auto tile logic, and the tile will now be usable as an auto tile. Switch the bottom panel from tileset to tile map. Choose the terrain set. So if it doesn't appear right away, try selecting a different node and then reselecting your tile map layer. Select terrains and try placing the auto tile. The sample tile clearly visualizes connection rules to help you understand how auto-tiling works. You can create your own auto-tiles in the same format and it will work regardless of the tile size. So they've also included a transparent auto-tile template that you can use as a guide when designing your own. That's kind of cool. Very helpful. Okay, so moving on to how to modify the player object, focusing on the basic operations of 2D bone rigged characters. As with the previous courses, this tutorial will use the same project, fair enough. Okay, download the attached image. And drag and drop it into the file system. Okay, it looked like that had been added as a child of that, but it's just because it doesn't have an icon. Fair enough. Open player scene. In the scene tree, go to bone animation root, polygon. Select all the nodes from mantle down to hand R. In the inspector, drag and drop the stickman skin into the texture field. The player character will now appear as a black stick figure. To revert to the original appearance, go to File System, Templates, Objects, Characters, P01, repeat the steps to, or you could also just like undo it, but what do I know? Okay, so the bone animation root 2D is a special node required by Action GameMaker to recognize 2D bone characters for effects like filters or motion trails. Okay, all skeleton 2D and polygon 2D nodes must be placed under this one. Fair enough. So each polygon 2D node uses a UV system to cut out parts of a shared image. So if you select the ARM L node, click the UV button in the top toolbar. The polygon shaped selection shows the area used for the texture from ARM-L, which is this one. Since the UV coordinates remain unchanged, you can easily create and apply new skins by keeping the same layout and dimensions in your custom image. Here are the default skin layouts for reference. We've got head, angry, damaged, sleep, neck, right arm, chest, right leg, left arm, right hand, hip, right foot, left hand, feather, hat, mantle, belt. When creating your own skin, follow the same layout as shown above. You can use these as a guide to modify or design your base skin textures. Okay. So let's add an animation. In the scene window, select the animation player node. The bottom panel will automatically switch to animation view. Press the play button in the top left of the animation panel. The character should move slightly. This is the idle animation being played. Click the animation name 00 idle. There are 47 pre-registered animations. Try playing different ones. You'll see the character move based on the white and yellow bones. These bone movements are controlled using the tracks shown at the bottom. Kind of cool that they've provided so many pre-thingied animations. Flying kick. Let's create a new animation. Click the animation drop down at the top of the panel, select new. A dialog will appear, enter a name for your animation and click OK. Not really sure what kind of animation to do, but we'll leave it as new animation. Your new animation is now created, but it's empty, no tracks yet. To add tracks, select all Bone 2D nodes from bHip to bchain. Then click the insert key icon in the toolbar. Create 42 new tracks, create. Each of the 21 bones will now have tracks for position and rotation. Let's start editing the animation. The blue vertical line shows the current time marker. Drag it to around the 0.6 second mark. Now let's animate the right arm. In the scene window, select B arm R. This is the upper right arm bone. In the inspector, adjust the Node 2D transform rotation value. You should see the arm rotate. Once you've chosen an angle, click the insert key icon again. Whee! The arm should move smoothly from its default position to the new rotated position. This movement is automatically interpolated between keyframes. Just like posing an action figure, set the pose, insert a key, and it becomes animation. Nice. You can change animation length using the clock icon in the top right. Next to it is the loop setting. So here, yep. Click once loop, click twice ping pong, 3 times no loop. Using your new animation in Visual Scripts. To use your new animation in a Visual Script, you must register it with the GameObject node's animation set. Select the player node in the scene window. Click the Auto Register Animations button in the inspector. I'm guessing that's bulk load animations. Your animation is now registered and usable in Visual Scripting. Expand the Animation Set section to view all registered animations. When you think if that had worked, then it would have added 48 for my new one. Look, if I go into the I'd say select animation. Yeah, it's not actually appeared as a usable one. I must have missed something. I'll call it 048 underscore. Nope. I wonder if I need to add it manually then.
But it told me it could be added automatically.
Oh, well, I'll come back to that another time. Okay, what else can we look at? I mean, was there anything in particular you wanted to see? Yeah, that bulk load animations doesn't really seem to actually do anything. Unless, yeah, there's the thing. So if I then go into this, save that. No, I can't actually select the animation for the script. Potentially a bug, but who knows. Yeah, they've got a few other tutorials for things like scripting a shooting attack and creating an anime, creating a sword attack, doing UI, scene transitions, using shaders and whatnot, but I think that gives a fairly decent basic overview of the editor and the kind of environment you'll be using if you do use the thing. So I think I'll probably just call it there. it just remains for me to thank everyone for joining me, and I will be back on Friday with more Hollow Knight. Until then, Chiari Andrasta Chalshin, Hami Andochas, Gumbila Ma Life. Bye just now, friends, and I hope you have a good day.